The issues being dealt with by Dr. Haas are very clearly on the public record. They are about dealing with the issue of parades, flags and the past. And whatever strand people want to put them in is of no relevance to me, or I think should be of any relevance to anybody else. These are issues that affect us here in the context of the here and now. And they come about as a result of what has been, I think, a very damaging year, where we clearly have seen elements like the Ulster Volunteer Force and elements of the Orange Order in North Belfast and in other parts of Belfast fomenting conflict on the streets. And it's conflict that has to be unreservedly condemned, alongside the activities of so-called Republican groups who have no support in the community and who, in the course of this week, have been involved in trying to create mayhem on the streets. Well, the answer to all of them is that it isn't going to work. Yes, we need solutions to parades, we need solutions to flags, and we need a solution to the past. And I think that it's incumbent upon all of us to do everything in our power to try and find solutions to these problems. Because if we don't find solutions to the problems, all we do is leave openings for those who wish to exploit their agenda, which is clearly an anti-assembly agenda, it's an anti-executive agenda, it's an anti-peace process agenda. So I think what we have to do is that we have to do our jobs as politicians, come up with results, whilst at the same time giving our wholehearted support to the police as they combat the lawbreakers.
Mr. Gardiner for supplementary.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker, and thank the Deputy First Minister for his answer. But can the Deputy First Minister confirm that the Dublin Government will not be involved in the Haas processes?
Well, I think Richard Haas, during the course of his stewardship of the process, and remember he was charged with the responsibility to do this job by the 5 major parties in this Assembly. We were the people, collectively, against all odds, agreed who the independent chair would be. And as a result of the responsibilities that he has been given, he finds himself having to speak, obviously, to the panel that has been established here, representing the 5 main parties, but also to the British government and to the Irish government. And I think that there's very few people in this House that would expect that he would, move forward with what is a very onerous task against the backdrop of not speaking to both the Irish government and the British government. As well as that, I think we're all very conscious that the White House has taken a very keen interest in this. Richard Haas has met with the highest level of the administration. He's met with Joe Biden. Myself and the First Minister both took phone calls from the Vice President, and they are retaining a very keen interest in this. So there's a lot of interest in what is happening, and it's, I think, very appropriate that both the US administration, the Irish government and the British government have their say in relation to all of it. At the end of the day, the decision-making process will be one of huge responsibility for the parties in this Assembly.
I call Mr. Thomas Buchanan for a topical question.
Deputy Speaker, and perhaps I should declare not this being a member of the Orange Order, which I'm proud of. Would the Deputy First Minister agree with me that it is now time for all those involved in terrorist and criminal activity to come clean about their past?
Well, the past has been dealt with in the context of the Haas talks, and it's an element that obviously creates a lot of pain for people who were victims during the course of the conflict. And of course we've seen in recent television programmes, not least being the latest programme done by Panorama, that there's no moral high ground, I think, for anybody in relation to all of this. I mean, there are many people in this House who supported these activities. There are many people in opposite benches who supported these groups and these activities. And I think that what we have to do is recognise that the reason that we're in the situation that we're in today is because we have seen conflict on the streets over the course of the last year. We have seen an agenda headed up by a paramilitary organisation, the Ulster Volunteer Force, people that I have challenged, both publicly and privately, about their activities. And what we need to do is get a resolution to the challenges posed, not just by the UVF, but these so-called Republican groups who are living in cloud cuckoo land, who are living a little cocoon, totally detached from the reality of where people's lives are. And in relation to how we deal with the past, or as John Dunlop, I think, rightly put it on Sunday Sequence last Sunday, how we cope with the past. That does represent a real challenge, but it doesn't just represent a challenge, folks, for Republicans. It represents a challenge for everybody, including the British government.
Order. Before calling Mr Buchanan for a supplementary, I have to remind members, please, no shouting from a sedentary position. I just will not tolerate it. Continue.
Okay, can I, again, and following on, can I ask the Deputy First Minister, does he believe that his party leader, Gerry Adams, was not a member of the IRA, despite all the evidence from other witnesses to the contrary?
Well, I'm on the public record that I was a member of the IRA. It didn't do me any harm getting elected in Mid-Ulster. The people of South Derry and East Tyrone, whenever they made a decision to make me their MP in 1997, did so because they believed I was absolutely committed to building a peace process, because they wanted peace, and they saw my contribution to that as being an important contribution. I hope I've made an important contribution. And I think those people who make the argument that you can't further contribute to society in a meaningful way because you were a member of the IRA in the past are making a huge mistake. They're making a huge mistake. It's irrelevant. That's totally irrelevant. We have, in my opinion, Father Alec Reid, who died recently, made a massive contribution to peace in this country. Gerry Adams made a massive contribution to peace in this country. And working with John Hume made a massive contribution to peace in this country. Sometimes it's probably now and again worth asking the question from some of the most negative elements who try to use these situations against the peace process, what contribution have they made?